Hello, I am Elizabeth Murray, and I have been an artist my entire life. But these last 5 years, I thought, let's just concentrate on what I love the most. I've been known as a gardener and written books about gardening and gardens as art and gardens as sacred space, always going back to the natural world. And I love plants. I'm a plant person. But I was thinking, what sustains us the most? What inspires us the most? And for me, it's trees. And to spend deep time with the trees has been a big teacher for me. So I spent sometimes days or weeks with trees, drawing them, photographing them, watercoloring them, sometimes making oil paintings directly, and then coming home to my studio and making some really large paintings. And also with trees, I am taught about living in three worlds at the same time. The world of the unseen, the underground, the dark, the depth, the place of roots and connection, and the ideas that it's not all about competition, it's about embracing diversity and sharing resources for mutual thriving. So I like that literally, I like that metaphorically, I like that artistically. And I think now more than ever, as we learn to mend the world, we learn what is most important, where are our values. For me, it's number one with the natural world and finding the spirit. So then all people and all of Earth can flourish. I learn about the roots, I learn about the trunks and the present time, being forward, being straight in your life, being flexible, and then the branches that reach to the sky, that turn light into sweetness, that turn light into chlorophyll, that feed the whole world light. And then the metaphors for that. And how can I turn inspiration into something that is visible? So that's what I've concentrated on with my forest collection. And as we look around this large gallery that I'm so pleased to be able to show 5 years of work here, we can see different times, different years, different concentrations of redwood trees that are like color field paintings, or the long panoramas that tell a story of curly oaks and pathways. Or I got into more of the orbs and the spiritual aspects that I've been training my eye to see and to be aware of. I have learned to deeply listen and deeply follow a calling. Some people really remark of my colors. Yes, my colors are pretty sensational. And it's because I, again, let them call to me. And I am very interested in vibration. I'm interested in color that heals. I've studied color for decades. And so I'm allowing color to be something that vibrates, very much like music. So I hope to show you around this gallery and talk a little bit more about some of these paintings. So in the beginning, this was one of my first paintings that I made. I made a series, and this I did up in Oregon in the fastest growing temperate rainforest in the world. And I love this forest, and these are mostly Sitka trees that get really big, like our redwoods, and then they shed their branches and moss grows all on top of them. And they can be very dense and dark, and then big breaks in the sunlight. And the sunlight, of course, is like magic. It creates different colors and feelings about it. And one of the reasons, besides rainfall, that this forest is so fast growing is because it's right near the Salmon River. And when the salmon spawn and then die, the bear and the eagles eat those salmon, bring them up to the woods, poop them out, and you get them all fertilized. So it's extremely fast growing, and it feels so sacred to me. So for me, this is I love this painting. And I drew it and I painted it, and I can look from about 50 feet away to see it in different lights. And it was just a joy to paint with many different, I wanted it to feel like watercolor. And so I actually did this one on paper with acrylic and water and pastels and pencil, and then mounted it on especially wooden blocks that I had made, and then waxed it with cold wax. But it has a different feeling than my oil paintings. It was very experimental for me. I just want to speak about these two paintings. I did them on a rainy afternoon and evening right here in Pacific Grove, a park that I love, the Rip Van Winkle Park, that has all kinds of curly oaks and beautiful Monterey pines, and it's a favorite for dog walkers. So these, I thought, I wanted to make the magic in the community, and this has an adult walking with a little child and a little dog, and I call it Woodland Wanderers. And this one is a person with their little dog wandering around and just trying to capture the magic of a forest and the scale of people to the forest. And also in the evening when the magic of the starlight starts to come out. And I just encourage people to take walks in the woods. And these paintings for me are really joyous. They're all about companionship. This one is called Let Us See the Beauty All Around. And that is a song that a friend of mine wrote, but that idea of always noticing and always being in gratitude for the beauty that is all around us. So I'd love to share a little bit about the why behind this abstract diptych. And I love making trees and painting trees, but these two abstracts are really about light and alchemy and the magic of the unseen world and what is happening in trees between the leaves and with the light and with the soils. And it's something of a feeling, more of a spiritual feeling for me about the natural world. And this painting, I called it Mother Earth Welcomes Our Song. So I think that we're always in relationship and in gratitude with the natural world. And so this is my response to it. I hope you like it. This painting is called Moonlight in Sacred Grove, and I love this painting. It started with a 3-day fast in the forest that had been burnt, and I did drawings in watercolor. And then when I got home, I was inspired to enlarge it, part of it. And these paintings are paintings that have gone through fire, so they're about regeneration. And in my dreams, I realized that I wanted to show globes or orbs behind them, and that my dreams were telling me how to play with circles and other colors. So that's what I added. And it actually took a long time to paint this one, but it has so much love and energy and nuance of color that it is actually one of my favorites. And I kind of reminds me of some German expressionist paintings with the boldness of shape. And so I'm very pleased with it. These 3 paintings are redwood trees, and they are also about resilience. And they're a series. I made several long, narrow ones that are also a triptych and other sizes. But I took a trip with a couple of friends of mine to the redwoods, the big, huge redwood trees, and we'd hike all day, and then they'd leave me in the forest, and there I could just watercolor paint and really listen to the trees and really be with them and see the huge, ancient, 2,000-year-old redwoods that are still alive, and the mother trees, the ones that help and nourish all the young ones. And in painting them, they're about light. They're about, some of them are called the rainbow forests, but they're about resiliency and about taking care and the radiance of color. And my hope is that they create a healing place. And a friend who bought 3 long ones, and they have changed her house, and they have created a space of healing and beauty. So I hope that these will go to a home or a hospital or a place where people will recognize the radiance of the forest, and they're like color field paintings, but in the forms of trees. So for me, these are really fun, really fun. I love these paintings. I want to tell you a little bit about my process. And One of the things I love to do is to spend a lot of time in the woods. And sometimes it's with fasting and camping and meditating. And that's how I did this one. And the other times it's with singing. And I love to go to a song camp where we sing maybe 8 to 10 hours a day. And the most favorite thing I can do is to be in the woods singing and painting. And that means you don't know, you can't decide what you're going to do. You're all reacting to the light and the color as I sing, which is all about joy. So this is one of many I did at the last song camp in the Redwoods. And then it goes more to abstraction. It's all about pattern and moving light. And because we'll stop singing and we move, I can't be attached to where I am. And these kind of paintings keep me in fluidity, keep me in joy, and help me to work quickly. This is one that I did during a vision quest, and so I had more time in one place. This watercolor was also on a vision quest, and then it turned into a large one over there. But it's by observing and playing with the color and being in present moment for a long time. And that helps me enjoy being observation, listen to the trees, listen to the natural world, and really be in the present. For 35, 40 years, I've been a professional photographer and mostly photographing gardens, and for the professionally Monet's garden since '85. And so now today we're all photographers with our iPhones and playing all the time. But I still love my photography, and it's really been a great training of my eye. I wanted to put a few photographs in the show, and this one is of redwood trees, and it's about resiliency and regeneration. And I wanted to alter it a little bit and not just have a slick, perfect picture, because nature's not perfect. Our lives aren't perfect. So this is where a redwood tree had fallen across a stream, and then from that fallen tree, a whole other redwood tree sprouted from that main trunk. It came up, and then it had a fire coming through. So what I did is I made the photograph black and white, printed it on watercolor paper, hand colored it a little bit, ripped it, burnt it, mended it with gold paint, then mended it with gold threads, and where it was burnt, filled it in with charcoal that I got from an old burnt tree, and thinking about how do we mend? How do we mend our lives when they break? How do we mend with love? How do we mend spiritually and physically? And looking towards our broken world that I so love, what are our tools to mend the world? And this, I think, is a spiritual act and a literal act that we are asked to do every day. This photograph I took some years ago when we were trying to save the oak woodlands up in Fort Ord, and there was going to be this big development project to cut down 100,000 oak trees. I thought, no, we're not. So what am I for? I am for children, and the future being our children, and being about the natural world. So this is a photograph. We invited some of the children from the seaside neighborhood to come up and play in the woods. And 3 brothers and sisters were playing in here, and also about what are our choices and how do we take care of our places and what are we really valuing. That, I think, is an important question every day, that we put our actions towards our values. And for me, our values are our future ones and our present earth. How do we take care of our mutual community? So that's our care of one another, our elders, our children, and our natural world. So that's what these photos are about for me.